Once again, immigration is dominating headlines across the country. It's a topic that seems to resurface every few years, but this time, the conversation feels even more urgent and divisive. From television newsrooms to social media feeds, people everywhere are talking about what the latest developments could mean for the future of America. President Trump has placed immigration at the very heart of his administration's agenda. In recent days, he's signed a series of executive orders that are set to dramatically reshape how the United States handles immigration. These orders touch on everything from border security to who can enter the country, and they represent some of the most sweeping changes in years. Unsurprisingly, these new policies have sparked intense debate. On television panels and in online forums, experts and everyday citizens alike are weighing in. Some argue that these changes are long overdue, while others believe they go too far and threaten the values that America was built on. The conversation is heated, and emotions are running high on both sides. Supporters of the president's actions say that stricter immigration rules are necessary to protect the country. They point to concerns about national security and argue that these measures will help keep Americans safe. At rallies and public events, you'll see people holding signs and chanting slogans, expressing their belief that these steps are essential for the nation's well-being. On the other hand, there are many who are deeply worried about the impact these new rules will have on immigrant communities. Families fear separation, and advocates argue that the policies are unfair and discriminatory. Protests have erupted in cities across the country, with demonstrators calling for compassion and justice for those affected by the changes. To truly understand what's happening, it's important to look closely at the details of these new policies. The executive orders cover a wide range of issues, from increasing border patrols to changing the criteria for who can apply for asylum. Legal experts are poring over the documents, trying to figure out exactly how these changes will play out in practice and what they could mean for millions of people. All of this is unfolding as President Trump approaches a major milestone, his first 100 days in office. Traditionally, this period is seen as a time when new presidents set the tone for their administration, and Trump is making it clear that immigration is one of his top priorities. During his campaign, Trump made bold promises about cracking down on illegal immigration and building a wall along the southern border. These pledges resonated with many voters who felt that previous administrations hadn't done enough to address the issue. Now, with these new executive orders, he's taking concrete steps to fulfill those campaign promises. The president's actions are being closely watched, not just by his supporters and critics here at home, but also by leaders and communities around the world. Every new order and policy announcement is analyzed for its potential impact, both immediate and long-term. For many, these moves signal a dramatic shift in how America sees itself and its role in the world. As the debate continues, one thing is clear. Immigration remains one of the most contentious and emotionally charged issues facing the country today. Whether you support the president's approach or oppose it, the decisions being made right now will shape the lives of millions and define the nation's identity for years to come. One of the new rules affects truck drivers. It requires them to speak English. To drive a commercial truck in the United States, drivers must now prove they can speak English well. This applies to drivers from other countries and American drivers who don't speak English as their first language. The Trump administration says this rule is about safety. They argue that all drivers need to understand English to communicate on the road. This includes talking to other drivers, police officers, and understanding road signs. They believe this will prevent accidents and keep everyone safer. Another executive order targets so-called sanctuary cities. These are cities that have policies limiting their cooperation with federal immigration enforcement. They often don't want to hand over undocumented immigrants to federal agents. This is because they believe it creates fear in immigrant communities and makes it harder for people to access services. The president wants to publish a list of these cities. He also wants to punish them by taking away federal funding. This has sparked a lot of anger. Many mayors say they will fight this order in court. They argue it's unconstitutional and goes against the values of America. The Trump administration says it is launching the largest deportation campaign in American history. They plan to increase the number of immigration officers, and they also want to speed up the deportation process. This means undocumented immigrants could be deported much faster than before. This announcement has caused fear and uncertainty in immigrant communities. Many people are afraid of being separated from their families, and they are worried about what will happen to them if they are deported. The government says it is focusing on deporting criminals. However, many people are concerned that innocent people will also be caught in the crossfire. The case of Kilmar Abrego Garcia shows the complex reality of these new policies. Garcia, a Salvadoran man, was deported despite having a court order protecting him from deportation. He had been living in the United States for many years. The Trump administration called his deportation an oversight, not an error. They claim they have no jurisdiction in El Salvador. They also say the Salvadoran president won't take him back because of accusations of gang affiliation. This case highlights the human cost of these policies and, honestly, the lack of clarity surrounding them. President Trump has also renewed his focus on the border wall with Mexico. He continues to insist that Mexico will pay for it. Recently, he claimed Mexico is, in a roundabout way, already paying. He argues that increased border patrols on the Mexican side save the United States money on detention and transportation. This claim is disputed by both Mexico and experts. They say there is no evidence to support it. Mexico has repeatedly stated it will not pay for the wall. The debate over the wall and who will pay for it remains a point of tension between the two countries. These new immigration orders are part of President Trump's promise to take a hard line on immigration. During his campaign, he pledged to build a wall, increase deportations, and ban Muslims from entering the country. While the Muslim ban has faced legal challenges, Trump has made progress on his other promises. He has signed executive orders to begin construction of the wall and increase immigration enforcement. These actions have been praised by his supporters, but have also drawn sharp criticism from those who believe they are discriminatory and harmful. Not everyone agrees with President Trump's approach to immigration. Across the country, his new executive orders have sparked a wave of passionate responses, both in support and in opposition. For many Americans, these policies represent a dramatic shift in the nation's long-standing values of openness and opportunity. The debate has quickly moved from political circles to the streets, with citizens from all walks of life voicing their opinions. Many people have concerns about his new orders. Families worry about loved ones being separated, while others fear the impact on their friends, neighbors, and co-workers. News coverage of the orders has dominated headlines, sparking heated discussions in homes, workplaces, and community centers. The uncertainty surrounding the implementation of these policies has left many feeling anxious about the future. Civil rights groups argue that the orders are discriminatory and target Muslims and Latinos. Organizations such as the ACLU and other advocacy groups have mobilized quickly, organizing rallies and providing legal assistance to those affected. They claim that these policies undermine the principles of equality and justice that are central to the American identity, and warn that targeting specific communities could lead to increased division and hostility. They are challenging the orders in court, claiming they violate the Constitution. Legal teams have filed lawsuits in multiple states, arguing that the executive actions infringe upon due process and equal protection rights. Judges across the country are now tasked with weighing the legality of these orders, and their decisions could set important precedents for future immigration policy. Some cities and states are also resisting the president's policies. Local leaders, including mayors and governors, have spoken out against the orders, vowing to protect their residents regardless of immigration status. They argue that these policies threaten the safety and cohesion of their communities and have pledged to use all available resources to defend their constituents. They are refusing to cooperate with federal immigration agents. Many cities have reaffirmed their status as sanctuary cities, limiting their involvement in federal immigration enforcement. This stance has led to tensions between local and federal authorities, with some officials facing threats of funding cuts or legal action from the federal government. For immigrant families, the uncertainty is especially difficult. Parents worry about the safety and stability of their children, and many are unsure about what the future holds. Community organizations have stepped in to offer support, providing information, legal aid, and a sense of solidarity during these challenging times. They argue that the orders will harm their communities and economies. Business owners, educators, and faith leaders have joined the conversation, warning that the new policies could disrupt local economies, separate families, and erode trust between residents and law enforcement. Many believe that a more compassionate and practical approach is needed to address the complexities of immigration. The legal battles over these orders are likely to continue for some time. As cases make their way through the courts, the nation watches closely, waiting to see how judges will rule and what impact those decisions will have on the lives of millions. The outcome of these legal challenges could shape the future of immigration policy in the United States for years to come. It remains to be seen how these new orders will ultimately be implemented and what their long-term impact will be. As the debate continues, one thing is clear. The issue of immigration remains at the heart of America's ongoing struggle to define its identity, values, and vision for the future. President Trump's immigration orders have ignited a fierce and emotional national debate, one that reaches into the heart of American identity and values. Across the country, people are tuning into news reports, watching lawmakers argue, and discussing the issue in their homes and communities. The question of who should be allowed to enter and stay in the United States is not just a matter of policy. It's a deeply personal and often polarizing topic that affects millions of lives. There are strong, passionate opinions on both sides of the immigration debate, and the divide is visible everywhere, from city streets to small towns, from family dinner tables to the halls of Congress. For many, this issue is about more than just laws. It's about what kind of country America wants to be. Some Americans firmly believe the president is right to take a tough stance on immigration. They see strict enforcement as a necessary step to protect national security, preserve American jobs, and uphold the rule of law. Supporters argue that without strong borders, the country risks losing control over who enters, potentially allowing criminals or those who would do harm to slip through the cracks. They argue that securing the border and enforcing immigration laws is not just a matter of policy, but a fundamental responsibility of the government. For these Americans, a strong border symbolizes safety, order, and the protection of national interests. On the other hand, many people believe the president's policies are unnecessarily harsh, even cruel and inhumane. They worry about the impact on families who are separated at the border, children who are left in limbo, and communities that are torn apart by deportations. Critics of the administration's approach argue that these policies will tear families apart, create fear among immigrant communities, and ultimately harm the economy by removing hardworking people from their jobs. They point to stories of parents and children separated, businesses struggling to find workers, and the emotional toll on those caught in the crossfire. The debate over immigration is likely to continue for many years to come as lawmakers, activists, and everyday Americans wrestle with questions of fairness, security, and compassion. Immigration reform has long been a contentious issue in American politics, and finding common ground remains a significant challenge. It's a complex issue with no easy answers. Every policy decision has real consequences for individuals, families, and the nation as a whole. The challenge lies in balancing the need for security and order with the values of openness, opportunity, and humanity that have long defined the American spirit. As the nation continues to grapple with these difficult questions, it's more important than ever to listen to all sides of the debate, to seek out common ground, and to approach this issue with compassion, understanding, and a willingness to find solutions that reflect the best of what America can be.